Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Mandala. Welcome you all to the video lectures on C programming language. We are in our lecture number 2. In this lecture, let us see about different programming languages. In our last lecture, we learned about the introduction to computers, where as part of that, we learned about the definition of a computer, what is an operating system, what are the different components of the computer like hardware components and software components we learned in detail. Right? So, let us learn about different programming languages about your computer. So, programming language, before going to learn about this programming language, let me tell about what actually a language means. Language means literally language means a communication channel. Like whenever two persons want to communicate one thing, they need to have one language in common, or they need to have a language, or they need to have a person who knows both the languages. Got it all of you? So, language is a means of communication. Similarly, if you want to communicate with the computer, we need to communicate in the computer's language, or we need to have a translator which translates our language into the computer understandable format. So, normally we can say a language is used in the communication of the computer instructions, and whatever we are going to tell to the computer, that those will be told by using the computer instructions, and those instructions, set of computer instructions are referred as program. That's why we name that computer programming language. Got it all of you? So, we have two options here. Either we need to communicate, or either we need to program in the computer's language directly, or else we need to have a or else we have a second option where we can write the program in our language, and in such a case we need to have a translator which will be translating the language into the computer understandable format. So, keeping these these points into our mind, we have three types of programming languages: machine level languages, assembly language, and high level language. So, let us learn in detail about these three types of languages. But remember, in all these three, the first category comes under the language which the computer knows. In the other two, computer don't know, but in these two cases, we need a translator which converts this language to the machine understandable format. So, let us learn in detail about this machine level language. So, coming to the machine level language, these languages are called as low level languages, and these are also called as first generation languages, and these languages are computers' own language. So, computers understand this language, that's why they are named as machine level language. Now, what do you mean by a machine level language is, it consists of two states like 0 and 1, only 2 bits are there. That means only two conditions are there, 0 condition and 1 condition, and what are all the instructions we should write? All the instructions should be written in the binary code, and this binary code is nothing but the combination of zeros and ones. So, the computer understands only this binary code, so that's why it is called as a machine code or machine level language. Got it all of you? And remember one thing, computers are not identical in design, and each computer has its own language. Each computer has its own machine language. So, because of these things, there may be the user, like we as a developer may face some problems. What are all the problems is, let me take one simple example. If you see this zeros and ones combination pattern, this combination pattern can be considered as an example for addition of two numbers. So, this combination pattern is to be written to perform the addition of two numbers for a particular system. So, if you shift to the other system, the pattern may change. So, it is difficult for the developer. So, we can understand two problems here. The first problem is, it is difficult for the developer to understand, to remember, and to write various combinations of these ones and zeros, which represents different instructions. Right, that is the first problem. And second problem is nothing but, since every machine has its own machine language, the users can't communicate with their own computers, with other computers. Like I told you, the same pattern can't be used for the other computer also. So, keeping these two disadvantages in mind, we have the other two programming languages like assembly language and high level language, right? But if you are comfortable in this, you can directly write in the machine level language also. So the second type of language is assembly language. Now these type of languages are referred as second generation languages. And in these second generation languages, what happens is, as we are facing the problem in this machine level language, we're remembering all those ones and zeros combinations. So in assembly level language, for each ones and zeros combination, they have replaced this ones and zeros combination with abbreviations, and those abbreviations are also called as mnemonic codes. So some codes have been given for a set particular pattern of zeros and ones, and those codes can be used in place of those zeros and ones pattern. So those codes are called as operation code or op code. That means, a simple example if you see, so whatever zeros and ones combination that we have seen in the machine level pattern case, that complete pattern has been given a mnemonic of ADD. So in such a way, the burden has been reduced to the user to perform a particular task. Now here what happens is, if you write in this fashion, the computer can't understand what is this mnemonic and all these things. Computer understands only zeros and ones combination. So to do that, so what you need to do is, this language should be converted into the machine understandable format, and to do that task we need to have a software, and that software is called as an assembler. Now what is the use of this assembler? The assembler will convert this assembly language code into the machine understandable code. So assembly code will have this mnemonics. Got it? So whatever problem we have faced with the machine level language can be solved with the assembly level language. But still we have one problem with this assembly level language is, the user, other than this problem solving logic, instead of concentrating only on the logic, the user has to remember these mnemonics also. Like in place of add, if you write addition, then it won't work. So all the mnemonics need to be remembered by the user, and one thing, instead of writing add AB, it will be more comfortable for the user to write A plus B. So if you follow that pattern, then that can be done by using your high level programming languages. So compared to the machine level language, assembly level language are very comfortable for the users to use, but still the task can be reduced to the user if you use the high level languages, where the programmer can concentrate only on the logic in solving the problem, other than remembering those mnemonics and all. Right? So these type of languages are called as high level languages, and these types of languages are called as are referred as third generation languages. So different programming languages we have under this high level languages like COBOL, Pascal, C, Java, Python, all these are different high level programming languages. So like assembly level language, where we have assembler to convert that code into the machine level language. Here also, whenever you are writing any program using one of these programming languages, we need a software which converts this program into your machine understandable format. Why? Because computers understand only the machine understandable format. To do that task, we have two approaches. One is compiler can be used, the other one is interpreter. Both will be used to convert your high level language code to the machine code only. Both will be used to convert your high level language to machine code. But what is the difference is, let us not dive in details, but I'll tell you one difference between the compiler and interpreter. Remember, whenever you are using any programming language, each programming language will have its own syntax to be followed. Syntax is nothing but a grammar to be followed. Now, if you are not following that grammar, then what happens is, during this conversion process, like during the high level language to machine code conversion process, some errors will be displayed, some syntactical errors will be displayed if you are not following that grammar or syntax of that particular language. Now, in compiler, during that process, if you have any syntactical errors, all the errors, let us consider you have 1000 lines of code. Among the 1000 lines of code, if you have 10 errors, then all the 10 errors will be displayed at once, and you can see all the errors and you can rectify all the errors. But whereas coming to the interpreter, until and unless you rectify your first error, the second error will not be displayed to you. It will not be shown to you. Got it? So here error by error, the statement error will be displayed, but here all the error, but in case of compiler, all the errors will be displayed. So you here both can be used for converting high level language to machine language only, but some like our programming language, if you see, which we are going to learn in this series, C programming language uses compiler, where Java uses both compiler and interpreter. Some languages uses only compiler, some languages uses the combination of compiler and interpreter, some languages use only interpreter. It depends upon the programming language. So our programming language, which we are going to learn in this series, uses our compiler, where while during the conversion process, all the errors will be displayed at once and you can rectify those errors. Those errors are called as syntactical errors. Right? So these are the three different types of languages we have: machine level, assembly level and high level. So with this, I want to mention three key points from this lecture. Like, you need to understand what is assembler, what is compiler and what is interpreter. For your reference, I'll repeat one more time. I'll give one line to these 3 points. Assembler is nothing but this is a software which converts your assembly level code to machine level code, because computer understands only machine code. Machine code is nothing but ones and zeros combination code, binary code. Coming to the compiler and interpreter, these two are also used for converting a high level language to your machine understandable code. Right? But I have already told you compiler, the difference between compiler and interpreter. So these are all the 3 key points that are takeaways from this lecture. So with this, we will come to an end of our today's lecture. So let us all meet in our next lecture. Thank you all of you.